Success is accomplishment of goals, whatever goals you've set for yourself in life. If you can attain those goals, I'd call that success.
Do you consider yourself to be a success?
Yes.
And why?
Because I've attained most all the goals that I've ever started out to attain.
Howard Terry, businessman, philanthropist, and founder of the Terry Foundation. Since 1987, the Terry Foundation has been giving Texas students an opportunity to further their education in ways that they couldn't have otherwise. The Terry Foundation is the largest privately funded scholarship program in Texas, benefiting hundreds of students each year. Howard and Nancy Terry established this foundation in order to give back to the people of Texas some of the benefits that they had been fortunate enough to receive from living and working in this state over the years.
We talk to an awful lot of young people that have a lot of dreams and they aspire to do things, but not very many of them are going to attain it unless they have some help in education. It's very difficult today for a kid to go out on their own and get a good education. They wind up deeply in debt from having to borrow money. When they get out, they can't do some of the things that they might otherwise if they didn't have that debt. And we try to get those kids through 4 years of college without any outside debt.
It is a privilege to be selected as a Terry Foundation Scholar, a privilege that carries with it great responsibilities to oneself and to others. Howard Terry was born in 1916 in Cameron, Texas.
I had come from a small community. I had a lot of things that I had not been able to afford, and I was money hungry, is what I would call it. And I wanted to accomplish more than I'd ever been able to accomplish in my life, or more than my parents had ever been able to do. My parents ran a little mom and pop neighborhood grocery store and filling station. I was the eldest, worked in the store and worked summers and so on and so forth to try to make money. We had enough to eat. There's a lot of things we didn't have, but at that time and place, it was during the Depression. And I guess by today's standard, we were very poor, but we didn't really realize at that time that we were.
Terry finished high school in 1934 and arranged to attend the University of Texas in Austin on a football scholarship. During the summer, he had been shoveling gravel for the State Highway Department to earn extra money.
Pay was 34 cents an hour, which was very good at that time. But I knew I didn't want to do that the rest of my life. And the funny thing was when I went down to Austin and came back and told my dad I had a deal. I was going to college. And his advice to me was, you got a job and you better keep it because the Depression's on and jobs are hard to get. And if you go down there and you get hurt, they're going to run you off. But at any rate, he meant well. But I knew I wasn't going to stay there.
Terry graduated in 1938 from UT and took a job with Procter & Gamble, selling soap and other products to grocery stores. 4 years later, married and with 2 children, he enlisted in the Navy to help with the war effort.
I was with P&G in Oklahoma City when Pearl Harbor occurred. I applied for a commission in the Navy, and that was awarded late that year in '42. And then I went to Cornell University for 4 months to officer training school, and I volunteered then for service in the PT boats, and I went to another school for 2 months and went overseas. I went out as a replacement officer to join a squadron of PT boats at Milne Bay, which was on the southern tip of New Guinea. 60 days later, I was captain of the PT boat, and we joined the rest of the 7th Fleet up there and started a stage for the invasion of the Philippines.
During his service in World War II as a PT boat captain, Terry participated in the decisive Battle of Leyte Gulf, in which the U.S. naval forces defeated Japanese naval forces in the largest sea battle in history. When World War II ended, Terry returned to his job at Procter & Gamble, but his ambitions soon drove him to work on a primarily commissioned basis for the Chambers Range Corporation in Houston. It was here that he learned about the financial side of the business world. Selling too many appliances on credit had almost buried the company in paper, money owed by customers who needed to buy appliances but were strapped for cash themselves. Chambers was near bankruptcy when Howard Terry made an appointment with a New York bank.
He got me an appointment with the Irving Trust Company in New York. And I went up expecting to be gone overnight to meet those people, and I spent 10 days up there. Never forget it, because I only had one change of clothes. I'd wear one suit and get the other one and clean, come back the next day and switch suits. But I stayed up there for those 10 days, and when I left, I had a commitment for $15 million to buy paper from us without any personal endorsement. And that really put us back in business from the standpoint of making money.
Not too long afterward, Terry met and formed a partnership with Walter Mischer, a paving and utility contractor in Houston.
He knew the business, but he didn't know much about finance. We fit together very well, started doing joint ventures with him. And then our business got complicated enough that we just became general partners and pushed everything together and into a partnership that lasted for 20 years. That was over 25 years ago, and I guess we still have some joint interest in things.
Some of the companies Terry and Mischer owned or managed together were Marathon Manufacturing, at one time the largest producer of offshore drilling rigs, Penn Central, now known as Conrail, and Allied Bank Shares, one of only 2 Texas banks that didn't go broke in the early 1980s. During his long and successful business career, Howard Terry invested in a wide variety of businesses, including land development, construction, oil and gas, shipping, and banking.
But it's all been fun. Heck, I'm 84 years old and I'm still working, so I guess I must like it.
In 1966, Howard Terry met and married Nancy, both of them having been recently divorced, and their 2 families formed a merger of a different sort. 20 years later, the Terrys decided that their immediate family was provided for adequately and chose to reach out to help others to have the benefit of a college education. Why did you choose to put your money in an educational foundation?
I saw that there was a need there, and maybe from my own personal experience, I knew that everyone had to have an education if they're going to do very much in their lives, and I could see a great deal of need among people that couldn't get there any other way.
The recipients of a Terry Foundation scholarship are challenged from the outset to demonstrate that they are worthy of such an incredible gift. Many graduates from the program have proven to themselves and others that they have taken full advantage of the opportunity being given to them.
Funny, I remember one kid that we were interviewing in Houston a couple of years ago, and one of the questions that we spent 30 minutes with him, and one of the questions that asked him if there's anything else that he'd like to ask us. He said, "Yes, sir." I said, "What's that?" He says, "How in the world did you make all this money?" But told him to go on over there to Austin and get in business school, and he'd find out. And I think he has. I remember he went over there and made straight A's, so I'm sure he's getting along all right.
The Terrys believe in helping others. They ask only one thing from a Terry Foundation scholar.
We're going to ask them to give back to the foundation but the way they give back is with their own time and effort, so that they help other people that come along behind them. And that is what we have followed, and that's what we do tell them today, is that life's not a one-way street. We've sent you through college, now you think about what you're going to do for the next guy.
What's the most important thing you've ever done in your life?
The Terry Foundation is the most important thing I've ever done in my life, simply because it's enabled me to help more people than I could have ever done otherwise.